And welcome, everybody, to another Mark Bishop show. We've covered some great stories, but this one with all the heat going on, and particularly for animal lovers, and for those that are dog owners, many people have no idea of the danger that high temperatures pose for dogs, not realizing that dogs' skin does not allow them to cool themselves, through perspiration, as we the humans can. Often they have a fur coat that traps the heat and can only pant to try to expel that hot air buildup inside them. So my very special guest, Rachel Bellis, is the Associate Director of Local Affairs for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals at Good Friend PETA. Welcome, Rachel.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark.
Well, there's no doubt that we really do have to learn how to keep companion animals safe when temperatures rise, but I feel for the poor old French and Boston bulldogs when the danger is extreme, and pugs as well, in fact, all other breathing impaired dogs who have shortened noses and shortened windpipes. Correct, Rachel?
That's right. Those breeds that you mentioned have been bred specifically to have those smushed in faces. And when we hear them making those noises, we think, oh, that's so cute. But it's actually that they are having a lot of difficulty in breathing. It's sort of like us breathing through a straw. And those dogs are twice as likely to experience heat stroke. So it's very important if you have a breed like that, or if you know someone who does physical exertion, stress, exercise can be, dangerous, very dangerous for these dogs, especially in the hot weather, as it is for many, many animals who are out there. And that's why PETA is reminding everyone, never leave your dog in a car unattended, and never leave them chained in the backyard.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rachel, it seems that every day, PETA receives reports about dogs, cats, and other animals who have suffered and died of heat-related causes after being left outside or confined to a vehicle, as you say, which can become a death trap within minutes for any animal locked inside, and even in the shade, right, with windows cracked, and even just walking a dog on hot pavement can cause permanent injury to their paws. Breathing impaired breeds, bibs, and as we said, bulldogs, Boston Terriers, pugs, boxers, and other flat-faced dogs. They're even at a higher risk of heat-related injuries. You feel sorry for them, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, really during this extreme weather that most of the country has been experiencing, keeping our animals at home where they are the safest and happiest is really the way to go. Don't take your dog on errands with you because in most cases you're not going to be able to bring them into a store. So if you have to leave them in the car, really just a few minutes can be life or death for your animals. And also when you're walking them, make sure you're walking them in the coolest times of the day, which is early morning, late evening. If you will have to walk them, in the afternoon so they can do what they need to do, put your hands on the ground, put your palm on the ground and test the temperature of the asphalt or the concrete, walk them in the shade, walk them in the grass, take water with you in case your dog starts to overheat, or if you see a dog that's in danger. Never go running or jogging with your dogs in this kind of weather because they won't stop until it's too late. So we really need to take extra precautions with our animals, with our companion animals, and keep them safe during the summer.
Yeah, my word. I remember once when I was working in Phoenix, I was out and about during the day and somebody stopped and pulled up and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm cooking an egg on the concrete. What's wrong with you?" That's how hot it is. Imagine the poor paws of a little doggy. What should people keep in mind when walking their dog, really, during the hot summer months? Should they take water with them and pour it all over them, or no?
Well, if you imagine that on an 87-degree day, the temperature of the pavement can reach 140 degrees.
Whoa.
That can cause that can cause serious damage to the paw pads. So just make sure they're in the shade, that you're walking them in the grass, that you're not taking them on really long walks at the hottest times of the day. If you see a dog that is in danger, that maybe their guardian is not really aware of how hot it is or what the dog is experiencing, just try to educate people, have a chat with them, talk about the dangers that dogs face in this kind of weather. And if we see a dog in a vehicle, make sure that we don't leave the scene until that dog is safe. Take down the make, model, license plate of the car. Call 911 immediately. Try to track down the owners if you can't find them, and if animal control is taking a long time, then do what we have to do to make sure that animal is safe.
Okay, so you're saying if you're walking along or going back to your car from shopping or whatever, and you see an animal trapped in a hot car, Rachel, that's what you're recommending to do?
Yes, absolutely. Call 911 first. Take down the make, model, license plate, color of the car. Try to find the owners. Yeah, and if you can't, well, it can be deadly, and with just a few minutes, it can be deadly for dogs. So we need to make sure that they're safe, get them out of there.
Well, you mentioned degrees before of an 83. I mean, where I am, 111 this week. But how hot is too hot? What are the symptoms of heat stroke? How do you recognize that your dog is overheating?
Well, heavy panting, lethargy. Some dogs will get a dark tongue. Vomiting, disorientation, even seizures, lack of coordination. So if your dog is experiencing this, get them to a cool spot, get them into the shade, give them water, put some water on their backs, on their necks. Try to cool them down. Don't give them freezing cold water. And also make sure, get that dog to a vet as soon as you can.
Are there many specific dog breeds? I mentioned a couple before, but are there many others more susceptible than other breeds to overheating?
Well, dogs who have long coats, obviously imagine wearing a fur coat 24/7, 365 days a year, so they're very susceptible. But the breathing impaired breeds, as we mentioned, the boxers, the Frenchies, the bulldogs, these kinds of dogs with the flat noses, they have a really hard time breathing anyway. And so they are especially susceptible to the hot weather. Okay.
What else can people do to protect animals in hot weather? Do you feature any of this on the PETA site now during this period of the year?
Yes, absolutely. A different kind of information is always on our website. People can visit PETA.org for more information. Just make sure you're not walking your dog during the hottest times of the day. Be aware of other dogs that might be in distress, whether it's in a hot car or whether you walk by a house and you see a dog that's being kept chained or in the backyard that doesn't seem to have water or shade. If you feel comfortable, try to talk to the owner about the dangers. And I also recommend that people check up on their local animal ordinance to see if maybe keeping that dog in the backyard and during certain temperatures is illegal. And you can call animal control, call law enforcement, but, always do reach out to law enforcement if you see an animal in distress, because we can't turn their backs on them. We really have to be there for them and protect them.
Yeah. Beautiful Rachel Bellis, ladies and gentlemen. She's PETA's Associate Director of Local Affairs, and she leads and participates in community events and meetings with law enforcement. Speaking of that, I remember to pass the chaining bans. You had a lot to do with that and improve other standards of care for companion animals. And as a former long-term resident of Spain, you assisted with the Spanish language cruelty cases around the world. Mega spray, neuter events in Mexico. That was a big deal then, wasn't it?
Yes, we have been traveling to Mexico for the last few years and coordinating with the local municipal shelter to offer free spay, neuter, large 200, 300 animal campaigns where we spay and neuter animals for free to low income and areas where services are limited.
Great job, Peter, and yourself. Heat waves, they do spell danger for doggies. Man's best friend, as they say. The poor pussycat misses out, don't they? Well, how hot is too hot? We were lucky to learn today how to keep our companion animals safe when the temperatures rise. And it looks like the temperatures rising is not going away forever. So we have to think a little differently. Marvelous. Thank you, Rachel. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and wonderful advice, great tips. You have a great week.
Thanks. You too. Thank you so much, Mark.